You there? Tell me something. Do you remember the last time you felt truly alive? Not entertained, not distracted, alive. Once the smallest things stirred your spirit, the warmth of morning light, the thrill of a new experience, the simple joy of being yourself. You felt the world, and the world felt you back. But now, nothing. Everything has become dull, tasteless, strangely distant, as if life has slipped behind a thin layer of glass, and you can only watch, not touch. You scroll, you consume, you chase tiny sparks of pleasure, yet your soul remains cold, and you wonder, what happened to me? Why can't I feel anything anymore? Listen carefully. You're not broken, you're awakening. The modern world has given you every comfort imaginable. Endless entertainment, infinite distractions, countless ways to escape yourself. And in doing so, it has quietly stolen your ability to feel alive. Joy, my friend, is not something you lost. It is something that has been drowned under noise, stimulation, and constant desire. There is a reason nothing excites you. There is a reason happiness slips through your fingers. There is a reason pleasure dies the moment you touch it. And if you stay with me, if you allow me to show you the truth you have avoided, you will never look at your life the same way again. This numbness you feel, it is the beginning, not the end. You see, the tragedy is not that modern men have lost their joy. The tragedy is that they pretend they haven't. Most people walk through life wearing a mask of calm exhaustion. They say, I'm busy. They say, I'm tired. They say, I'm fine. But beneath this thin veil, something inside them is quietly dying. Perhaps you've felt it too, that strange silence within you. A silence that wasn't always there. Once there was a fire. Once there was a pulse, a hunger, a curiosity. Life felt vivid, alive, raw, and now it feels as though the color has washed out of everything. You do the same things, see the same people, follow the same routine, but nothing reaches you anymore. Not because you're weak, not because you've failed, but because you've become emotionally numb, and you don't know how to tell anyone. Most men never admit this, not to their friends, not to their families, not even to themselves, because somewhere along the way, society taught you that losing joy is a personal failure, when in truth, it is an inevitable consequence of living in a world drowning in stimulation and starving for meaning. You feel empty, not because your life lacks pleasure, but because your soul lacks silence. Numbness is not a disease, it's a message, a quiet signal that the world has become too loud, too fast, too artificial for your inner life to breathe. You are not emotionless, you are overwhelmed, and this, my friend, is where I come in. For centuries, I have watched human beings repeat the same tragic cycle of desire, disappointment, and distraction, but you are beginning to notice it. This quiet despair you feel is the first sign that you are waking up from the illusion. Now listen, for this is the part no one wishes to hear, but every man eventually learns. Human joy was never designed to last, not in my century, not in yours, not in any world where the human heart is chained to desire. You see, life is not a straight line toward happiness, it is a pendulum. It swings back and forth endlessly between pain and boredom, pain when you want, boredom when you get. And in the narrow space between these two tyrants, a small spark appears. You call it joy, but it is merely an intermission, a brief pause between longing and disappointment. Let me show you your own life clearly. You desire something, a goal, a lover, a possession, an achievement. It feels urgent, intoxicating, meaningful. You imagine that attaining it will complete you, but once you acquire it, the fire goes out, the excitement dissolves, the satisfaction fades into thin air, and all that remains is emptiness. Then, without understanding why, you search for something new to chase, a new distraction, a new pleasure, a new dream. This is the happiness treadmill. You run, you sweat, you exhaust your soul, and yet you remain in the exact same place. Let me give you a clearer image. Your happiness is like a bucket with a hole. No matter how much pleasure you pour in, it leaks out, slowly at first, then faster. until you are left thirsty again. And so you think, perhaps I need more, or something different, or something bigger. But the problem was never the world. It is the structure of human desire itself. You don't suffer because life fails to give you joy. You suffer because you expect joy to be permanent. My friend, there is a raw truth you must swallow. You don't enjoy life because you are chasing illusions, not reality. You believe joy lies in the next achievement, the next pleasure, the next relationship, when in truth, these things only feed the restless will inside you. The will is never satisfied, and the moment it is, it begins to hunger again. Understand this, and your entire life will take a different shape. Tell me something. When was the last time you felt anything, truly felt it without noise, without distraction, without your mind running somewhere else? You see, modern life has done something far more destructive than pain. It has made you numb, and numbness is the quiet death of the soul. You believe you are tired, you believe you are unmotivated, you believe something is wrong with you. But the truth is simpler and far more terrifying. You are overstimulated, and overstimulation is the slow erasure of human feeling. Let me explain. Your mind was not designed for infinite pleasure, infinite information, infinite choices. It was built for survival, not for scrolling through an endless world of temptations. And when everything is available instantly, nothing feels valuable anymore. You live in a time where pleasure is cheap, distractions are endless, entertainment follows you like a shadow. But do you know what disappears in this world? Your sensitivity, your ability to feel joy, to feel wonder, to feel the world penetrate your inner being. Modern life floods you with so much stimulation that your emotional system shuts down just to protect itself. Every time you scroll, switch, swipe, consume, you train your brain to expect more, faster, stronger. And so eventually, ordinary life becomes intolerable. A quiet morning feels empty. A slow conversation feels boring. A simple joy feels insufficient. Because your mind has become addicted to noise. Schopenhauer's truth is brutal. The more you fill your life with pleasure, the less capable you become of feeling pleasure. This is why nothing excites you anymore, not because life is dull, but because your mind has been numbed by excess. Your senses have been worn out, your emotions have been overused, your desires have multiplied beyond what reality can satisfy. Modern life has convinced you that the solution to emptiness is more, but the more you chase, the emptier you become. Overstimulation leads to boredom. Boredom leads to dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction leads to emotional numbness. And numbness, my friend, is the modern man's quiet suffering. You are not emotionally dead. You are simply drowning in stimuli you were never built to handle. This world overstimulates you into feeling nothing, and then wonders why you are unhappy. Now you know the real reason. Tell me, my friend, have you noticed that your life is constantly full, yet you feel increasingly empty? This is where most modern men misunderstand themselves. You think you are depressed. You think something inside you is broken. You think you have lost the spark that once kept you alive. But the truth is far more subtle and far more dangerous. You are not depressed. You are overloaded. Your mind is carrying more stimulation, more noise, more desire, more pressure than the human nervous system was ever designed to endure. You see, numbness is not the absence of emotion. It is the exhaustion of emotion. Your mind has been forced to feel too much, too quickly, too constantly, and now it has shut down to protect itself. Let me show you the mechanics of this silent collapse. Number 1. Too much input equal to emotional burnout. Every notification, every reel, every fast highlight demands just a little drop of your attention. Over time, these drops become a flood. Your brain never rests. Your inner world becomes a battlefield of impressions. Eventually, it can't process anything deeply anymore. Number 2. Too much desire equal to permanent dissatisfaction. Modern life whispers, want this, chase that, become more, consume more. But every new desire drains the soul. The more directions your desires pull you in, the more fragmented and restless you become, and a restless mind cannot feel joy, only tension. Number 3. Too much distraction equal to loss of inner depth. When was the last time you sat in silence without reaching for your phone, without stimulating yourself? You've trained your mind to escape itself, and a man who constantly escapes his inner world eventually loses access to it. This is why nothing feels meaningful anymore. Number 4. Too much comfort equal to no challenge, no meaning. Comfort protects the body, but it weakens the spirit. Without friction, the soul does not grow. Without challenge, the mind does not awaken. This is why your comfort feels like a cage. You call it emptiness, but I call it overcrowding. Your life is too full of noise for joy to enter. And here is the truth you've been avoiding. Joy needs space, but your life is suffocating under everything you've allowed into it. You are not losing joy, you are drowning it. You see, the modern man believes that joy disappears because life becomes worse. But that is an illusion, one of the most dangerous illusions of your time. Joy does not vanish because life declines. Joy vanishes because desire increases. Let me tell you a truth men fear to admit. The more you chase pleasure, the faster pleasure runs from you. Your mind was not built for constant stimulation. It was built for contrast, for rhythm, for the dance between longing and fulfillment. But you have abolished the distance between wanting and getting. Everything is instant, everything is available, everything is within reach. And so, nothing feels significant. Your emotional system has been robbed of its natural hunger, and without hunger, satisfaction dies. In my philosophy, the force that drives every human being is the will, a blind, restless, insatiable force. It wants and wants and wants, but it is never satisfied, not truly. Each desire you fulfill collapses into emptiness the moment it arrives. This is why your happiness slips through your fingers like water. You cannot hold it because it was never meant to stay. Joy is temporary, desire is permanent. This is the tragedy of being human. True joy, the kind you remember, does not come from adding more to your life. It comes from needing less. You suffer today not because life is cruel, but because you demand too much from it. You expect life to thrill you, to entertain you, to rescue you from your own restlessness. But life is indifferent. Only when you loosen your desires, when you lower your demands, when you stop clutching life with desperation, only then does joy return, quietly, like a shy animal stepping out of the forest. Your mind did not stop feeling joy. It simply drowned beneath your expectations. You feel it, don't you? That strange dullness, not exactly sadness, not quite emptiness, but a quiet distance growing between you and the world. A distance you cannot explain to anyone. Let me tell you something most men never dare to admit. There comes a moment in a man's life when he outgrows the very world he once belonged to, not because he becomes superior, but because he becomes awake. The pleasures that once thrilled you now feel predictable. The conversations that once entertained you now feel shallow. The people you once admired now seem driven by vanity, impulse, and illusion. This is not depression, this is vision. You have begun to see life without its decorations, without the glitter, without the noise, without society's childish games. You now see people chasing approval they do not need, desires that do not matter, and dreams that collapse the moment they are touched. When you mature inwardly, joy does not disappear. Illusions do. Childhood wonder fades because you finally see the strings behind the puppet show. You see the machinery of human nature, the ego, the hunger, the manipulation, the constant reaching for things that cannot satisfy. And with this clarity comes an unexpected loneliness, a quiet, heavy solitude, because you no longer fit into the world of the sleeping, but you haven't yet found those who are awake. This in-between state feels like numbness, but it is actually transformation. A man becomes emotionally flat when he stops believing the lies that once excited him. Do not fear this phase. It is the painful shedding of a former self, a necessary death before the rebirth of depth. You are not losing joy, you are losing illusions, and that is the first step toward finally feeling alive again. You wonder why nothing excites you anymore, why the games you once played, the films you once cherished, even the company of friends now feel hollow. It is not that you have failed at life, it is that your brain has betrayed you. Not maliciously, mind you, but with the cruel inevitability of biology and the will's insatiable hunger. Listen closely. Novelty addiction. Your mind craves newness constantly, yet the very act of craving blinds you. The more you seek, the less you savor. A new phone, a new show, a new adventure, all merely temporary jolts, leaving you emptier than before. Pleasure tolerance. Each thrill you chase dulls the next. The dopamine floods, the heart races, the mind ignites, and soon nothing matches the first spark. The world never feels enough because your senses have become accustomed to excess. Hedonic adaptation. Even the greatest accomplishments, the most coveted possessions, lose their luster. You believed a promotion, a car, a relationship would satisfy, and yet the satisfaction slips through your fingers like water. It is not the world failing you, it is your expectations outrunning reality. Emotional fatigue, constant stimulation, constant scrolling, constant desire. Your mind is weary, your emotions dulled, your inner life exhausted. You feel flat because you have felt too much and too little all at once. The inner void. Ultimately, all of this leads to a profound emptiness, not a void created by circumstance, but by the lack of meaning. You have consumed endlessly and felt, paradoxically, almost nothing. This is why pleasure, achievement, success, even love, no longer suffice. Your nervous system is overwhelmed, your desires are untempered, your attention is fractured. But understand this, the emptiness is not a curse, it is a signal, a warning from your own nature. You must stop the hunt, you must reduce, detach, simplify, and confront boredom itself. Only then, only by stepping away from the relentless consumption of sensation, can your mind begin to remember what it feels to truly live, because you have consumed too much and felt too little. You may feel trapped in a world that no longer excites you, yet take heart. This emptiness is not permanent. It is a warning, yes, but also an invitation. The paradox is simple. Though the world hides it behind noise and distraction, to feel alive, you must first stop chasing life's illusions. Joy does not live in the next experience, the next purchase, the next conquest. It dwells quietly, waiting in the spaces you have neglected. Listen carefully. Reduce stimulation. Step away from the constant bombardment, the endless scrolling, the flashing screens, the perpetual chatter. Your senses are exhausted. Your mind craves silence. Give it that silence. Sit with boredom. Do not flee it. Boredom is not punishment. It is the mind's doorway to clarity. Only when the noise recedes can subtle joys emerge. The warmth of sunlight, the hum of a quiet room, the stillness of your own thought. Detach from outcomes. You have demanded too much from life, too many results, too many proofs of your worth. Stop. Desire less, expect less, and notice how what remains blooms more vividly. Lower desire intentionally. You must starve the insatiable will that drags you through endless dissatisfaction. Ask yourself, do you truly need this, that, or the next thing? The less you need, the more alive you become. Engage with nature, solitude, silence. Walk without agenda. Listen without judgment. Feel without calculation. The simplest experiences, when fully attended, awaken the mind and heart. Return to slow experiences. Drink your coffee. Watch the sky. Touch a page. Stop rushing through life like a man on fire. The fire burns, but it consumes nothing but your awareness. Seek depth over excitement. Joy is found not in constant novelty, but in deep engagement with art, with thought, with the quiet resonance of being itself. Remember, joy returns to those who stop hunting it. It has been waiting for you all along. Not in the noise, not in the pleasures, not in the distractions, but in the calm, in the depth, in the moments you thought were empty. Begin here, begin now, and then it happens. Not with fanfare, not with drama, but quietly, almost unnoticed. Colors feel brighter, music resonates deeper, as if the vibrations of the world finally reach the hollow chambers of your heart. Small things, long ignored, begin to matter. The warmth of sunlight on your face, the scent of rain on dry earth, the way your own breath sounds when you are still. These become treasures, not background noise. Calm begins to replace chaos. Where once your mind raced, now there is space. The incessant pull of desire loosens its grip. You notice your thoughts, your emotions, your own presence, and astonishingly, you feel alive. Life, which once felt like a performance, now feels real. Not because the world has changed, but because your perception has. You have stopped chasing, stopped demanding, and in that cessation, joy returns. You begin to understand. You are not losing joy. You are learning to feel it properly. Your awakening does not come from more experiences, more stimulation, more achievements. It comes from depth, from presence, from the patient attention to life as it truly is. And in this turning point, you glimpse the paradox. The less you grasp, the more life holds for you. The less you demand, the more you receive. This is the moment you have been waiting for, the moment your soul remembers what it is to live. Listen closely. Your joy did not vanish. It was never truly gone. It was buried beneath layers of distraction, desire, and a world intent on numbing your senses. You have been taught to seek happiness as though it were a prize, a distant star to be chased. But joy is not found in chasing. It waits quietly, in the depth of your awareness, in the simple act of being present. The less you need, the more alive you become. The less you demand from life, the more life offers in return. Your numbness was not a failing, but a signal that it is time to awaken, to see clearly, to feel deeply. And now, you are waking up. Your joy isn't dead. It is simply waiting for you to remember how to live.